Hello, what's up? Jubitaz back with a new video, where today I'll finally tackle the ANBU Black Ops of both the Leaf Village and of the Shinobi world as a whole. The ANBU is kinda like the CIA or the secret police force of a Shinobi village. They're responsible for handling covert operations and espionage or intelligence gathering. However, it goes beyond just gathering intelligence. The ANBU also gets their hands dirty with assassinations and interrogations, so it's kinda like the village's special forces in that sense. They've always been one of the most popular forces to talk about in the Narutoverse, so I figured it's about time that I made a video tackling all the ANBU factions throughout the 5 great nations. Make sure you like and share this video, and other than that, well, you know the drill. Let's get to it. Okay, so let's start by looking at the ANBU Black Ops of the Leaf Village, also known as the Special Assassination and Tactical Squad. The ANBU was a specialized task force within the Leaf, tasked with secretive assignments both within and outside the borders of Konoha. These assignments ranged from carrying out assassinations to interrogation of subjects in order to gather intelligence, surveillance and tracking of persons of interest, deep infiltration into enemy territory, and matters pertaining to the broader security of the village. Due to the secrecy of how they operated, members of the ANBU wore animal-styled masks to conceal their identity, and they also used code names to identify each other. This meant that members of the public weren't disclosed to who exactly was a part of the ANBU. They were meant to be the forces that protected the village from the shadows, and due to the nature of their assignments, members of the ANBU appeared to be cold and detached from emotions. That meant that not everyone was eligible to become a member. For example, Guy was denied an ANBU membership not because he was lacking in skill, but because he lacked the darkness required to become a part of the ANBU. The darkness that'll allow you to take whatever steps necessary, regardless of how unethical or corrupt they may be, to ensure the success of the mission. The ANBU were meant to be the best tools at the state's disposal, capable and willing of completing any assignment they're handed, regardless of the ethical and personal cost. All of this was most applicable to the rogue faction that was known as the Root or the Foundation, that was under the direct control of Danzo Shimura. When Hiruzen took reins as the 3rd Hokage, that left his rival bitter and angry, so in order to appease Danzo, the 3rd Hokage allowed him to create his own section of the ANBU and run it his own way. If you thought the ANBU was sketchy, this organization took it to another level. In order to create pawns that could carry out any mission regardless of how unethical the mission's objectives may be, Danzo employed an emotional conditioning tactic to the recruits of the Foundation, a practice that the Hidden Mist employed in the past as well. He had the boys that grew up together take a graduation test where they were to fight to the death, and the winner would move on to the next stage. By fighting and killing the person closest to them, they could kill or sever their emotions and hence become fully dedicated to the cause. Members of the Foundation were the ultimate shinobi tools, the ones operating from the shadows that support the great tree of Konoha from the depth of the earth. However, an organization like that tends to act out of self-interest, or shall I say, self-preservation. The Foundation had the infamous reputation of engaging in sketchy assignments and foreign intervention, and the anime expands on that a bit. One example was during the 3rd Great Ninja War, when there were negotiations between the Stone and the Leaf. Danzo sent the Foundation members to the Rain Village disguised as shinobi from the Stone Village, and those undercover ops ran a ruckus to implicate the Hidden Stone and sabotage the peace deal, which Danzo believed would be disastrous for the Leaf. Those were the backhanded ways of the Foundation. This is also far from the only example. The darkness of the Foundation extended way beyond that. They carried out a lot of assassination missions against individuals that they deemed to be a threat to the village, even if the individual didn't do anything yet. even if the individual did everything in their power to serve the Leaf, but just knew too much and had to be eliminated. Their purpose was to maintain order in the hidden Leaf through the Code of Darkness. Many within the Leaf itself suffered at the hands of the ANBU, like Shisui or Kakashi, both of whom were targeted for their Sharingan. And another thing about them is, the Foundation's loyalty lied with Danzo above all else. His vision was what was best for the Leaf. So if Danzo deemed it that the current Hokage was unfit to rule, then no one second-guessed a mission to assassinate the Hokage. That meant that their loyalty to him surpassed that of the actual head of the Leaf Village. The Root was officially disbanded after the Uchiha massacre, as the third Hokage couldn't overlook Danzo's involvement, and the Uchiha hadn't done anything yet technically. However, the Root didn't disband really and just went underground instead, and they remained loyal to Danzo. The distinction between the Root and the ANBU Black Ops is that the Root were Danzo's agents. They were loyal to him first, but they worked with the rest of the ANBU when it came to matters that Danzo and the third Hokage agreed on. Just like Danzo, the Hokage was the direct commander of the ANBU and gave out the most high priority missions to them, as they are seen as the most specialized force in Konoha. The Hokage personally selected the most skilled shinobi to work under them as an ANBU. That's why characters like Itachi, Yamato, and Kakashi were selected at young ages. Another distinction between the ANBU and its subdivision, the Foundation, is that despite the ANBU not being the cleanest line of work, its members weren't as morally depraved as the Root, as the Root members didn't even intervene when the village was being attacked by the Akatsuki. I mean, I'll admit they did seem like they were willing to lend a hand, but Danzo said nope, and they just hid there and did nothing, while the actual ANBU helped fight off the Akatsuki and protect the villagers from the assault. And in order to keep their mouths shut, the Root members also had a curse mark on their tongues that rendered their entire body paralyzed when forced to speak about Danzo or the Foundation. The ANBU in general had contingency plans in place so that they couldn't be captured alive and forced to reveal sensitive intelligence regarding the village. Both the ANBU and the Leaf Police Force served as the powers meant to maintain peace, and since there was no clear line defining the jurisdiction of the police force and the ANBU, these two factions would often clash. The ANBU are actually a part of why the Uchiha felt so isolated, as some of the duties that they felt entitled to were given to the ANBU many times, which made the clan feel like their position was being undermined. And on top of that, the ANBU was also assigned to surveil the Uchiha clan since as far back as the days of the second Hokage, and the Uchiha clan wanted to have a mole within the ANBU to gather intel on the Leaf's leaders, that being Itachi. However, Itachi chose to be loyal to his village instead, and side with the ANBU against the clan and their attempted coup d'etat. These were the exact types of situations that the ANBU was created to handle. Danzo and the Foundation being the more extreme faction meant that they took even more drastic measures, such as having Root members kidnap and murk some of the Uchiha clansmen in order to impersonate them and have a more direct source of intel from within the Uchiha clan. Now, I did say that I will also be looking into the ANBU or secret police factions throughout all the 5 great nations, so let's do that. Let's go to the east to the Hidden Mist village, which had one of the most notorious or sinister reputations for their ANBU Black Ops force. The Kirigakure ANBU was a covert operations task force that specialized in espionage, assassinations, and intelligence gathering. It was the Hidden Mist village that employed the emotional conditioning tactics on its shinobi in the first place, through the graduation ritual where students were made to fight to the death, and the survivors would pass the exam and go on to become shinobi. This meant that the Mist's ANBU was one of the most effective and most brutal Black Ops units. They too operated in secrecy and wore masks to hide their identity. To To give you an idea of the types of missions the Mist's ANBU were involved in, there were infiltration missions, like when Rin Nohara was made into the Jinchuriki of the Three Tails. The Mist ANBU were to escort Rin to the village by pretending to chase her and Kakashi so that they could unleash the Three Tails onto the Hidden Leaf. They also had a zero dissent rule, and they were ordered to kill their own shinobi before allowing them to be captured alive by the enemy to prevent the leakage of intelligence. The Mist's ANBU was also closely tied to the 7 ninja swordsmen, as the group's special operations role frequently overlapped with the ANBU tasks, and many from within the group were ANBU members like Zabuza and Kushimaru. That's why most of the group were familiar with the silent killing technique, a method developed by the ANBU to carry out discreet assassinations. Eventually, the special division within the Mist's ANBU was created, named the Hunter Nin, which was tasked with capturing and eliminating the rogue ninja of the Mist, since many ninja fled the village during its Bloody Mist era. And if we move a bit more west to the Hidden Sand Village, the village had an elite task force named the Sand's ANBU, which was similar to the Leaf's ANBU Black Ops. Like Konoha's ANBU, Tsunagakure's Black Ops unit specialized in covert missions, assassinations, and intelligence gathering. They too operated in secrecy, wearing masks to hide their true identity. We don't get to see that much of them in the manga, but the anime does give us more context. Their main purpose was serving the Kazekage in carrying out secretive, high-risk assignments and dealing with internal threats. This was the same task force that carried out multiple assassination attempts against the would-be 5th Kazekage Gaara. We get to see the Sand's ANBU carry out more assassination attempts against Gaara in the anime, which implies that while they primarily got their instructions from the Kazekage, they also followed the commands of the Sand's Elder Council, many of whom thought poorly of Gaara, and the assassination attempts persisted even when Gaara became the Kazekage, though it's believed that the Elder Council used a rogue faction in the Sand, as by then the ANBU would have been loyal to their Kazekage. And if we were to look at the other great nations, like the Cloud and the Stone, we don't explicitly get to see their ANBU forces, but they most likely had their own Black Ops unit. The Cloud's attempt at kidnapping the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki had to be carried out by a highly skilled Black Ops force, most likely, but that being said, we don't really get to see the ANBU units of either the Cloud or the Stone in the anime or the manga. The only other time we see another organization of masked men that resemble soldiers of an ANBU-like Black Ops group of the sort was the Hanya Black Ops of the Land of Woods. We get to see the remnants of the group try to assassinate Danzo at the start of the 5 Kage Summit. However, Danzo was able to defeat them all with relative ease, meaning that they weren't really all that. In all honesty, many of the Naruto fans are rather disappointed with the ANBU, as they believe that they fall short of expectations, which is understandable. I mean, the ANBU are meant to be the elite of the elite. But the ANBU's focus has always been to work from the shadows to ensure that order was maintained. Though, like any secret police force, maintaining order sometimes requires underhanded and sketchy missions that would screw over individuals for the benefit of the state. In more extreme factions like the Mist ANBU or the Foundation, unethical assignments and political violence was just a daily habit. Though still like the CIA, the cool secretive nature of these organizations has always made them intriguing for the global audience. And these have been the Black Ops of the 5 great nations. If you've enjoyed this video, then be sure to like and share it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next time. Peace.